The NBA trade deadline just wrapped up and the Boston Celtics hit a buzzer beater, completing 2 deals right before the timer finished. The Celtics brought in Jaden Springer from the Philadelphia 76ers and they traded away Dalano Banton to the Portland Trail Blazers. We'll be exploring all the moves that the Celtics made at this trade deadline in this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we dive into this Celtics content today, I'd like to say that 78% of our viewers are not subscribed. And if you're part of the thousands of viewers that are watching our videos that aren't subscribed, then want to make sure you stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics content and coverage, hit that subscribe button as you definitely will not regret it. We bring up news right as it comes out, and if you want to make sure you stay up to date, this is the place to do so. But let's dive into this Boston Celtics news at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack as today's episode is going to be a jam-packed one as we dive in exploring the Celtics pulling off 2 deals at the buzzer. And if you guys do not know, the trade deadline ends at 3 p.m. Now, if you insinuate a trade before 3 o'clock, it can still happen. So we might see some deals trickle out throughout the afternoon into a little bit to 3:30, 4 o'clock. But at this moment, it's looking like these are the final 2 deals that the Celtics pulled off, and they got them right at the buzzer. 2:58, 2:59, Adrian Wojnarowski is dropping those bombs about the Boston Celtics, and I think they got a steal in Jaden Springer here. Now, if we want to look at the trades that the Celtics did, the first one was the Sixers are trading Jaden Springer to the Boston Celtics for a second-round pick. And if we want to look from Keith Pompoy, he is a Sixers cover guy, and I got this from Jay King, who I follow for the Celtics reports. He said that the 2024 second-round pick that the Sixers will receive from the Boston Celtics in exchange for Jaden Springer is the more favorable Chicago or New Orleans 2024 second-round pick. So that helps out and kind of gives us a little bit of clarification with that deal. The Sixers made some moves ahead of the deal. They'll probably be looking at the buyout market after the trade deadline. But the Celtics bring in a guard in Jaden Springer, who personally I think could be very, very effective and is a nice young enough piece for this Celtics team. I know my guy on Sixers Digest, Sean, is a big proponent of Jaden Springer, and we might have to bring him on this channel here to kind of get his opinions and his thoughts on Jaden Springer as a player from a Sixers standpoint. But from what I can understand, I think Jaden Springer is going to be a guy that could kind of work in with this team. And in yesterday's video, Isaac kind of mentioned how we kind of want some younger guys to develop and kind of bring up through the system. And I think Jaden Springer can do that for the Boston Celtics. Now, obviously, we can look at Jaden Springer's stats and we want to kind of analyze this, averaging 4 points, 1.8 total rebounds, and 1.1 assists. 39% from the field, 21% from 3, and 82% from free throw. He's a pretty good defender, needs to work on his 3-point percent shooting, but the one thing that I do like is his favorable position is a shooting guard. And the Boston Celtics don't have any set shooting guards on this roster that they can kind of develop and play. Unless you want to say like Svi Mykhailiuk, say Jaylen Brown's a kind of transition of a 2 and a 3. Derrick White and Jrue Holiday can both play the 1 or the 2, but they both primarily work better at the 1 position. So the Boston Celtics having a true 2 guard that they can kind of develop into this system, I think is a key piece for the Boston Celtics. Like I mentioned, Jaden Springer is a young guy that can kind of, play on this roster and kind of build up, kind of like Dalano Banton was for this Celtics team, even though he didn't get that full play. Also, diving into it, talking about Dalano Banton, he was traded from the Boston Celtics to the Portland Trail Blazers for a heavily protected second-round pick. Most likely, the Celtics won't be getting anything in return here. It's just a little flip to just move off of a contract to hold up an extra roster spot. Now, why the Celtics would be moving off of a guy in Dalano Banton is because he kind of played that third point guard role already for the Celtics, and Jaden Springer can kind of be, as a shooting guard, be that replacement for Dalano Banton, so the Celtics don't necessarily need his role on this roster. Ultimately, though, we wish Dalano Banton the best of luck in Portland. He was all right for the Boston Celtics in some splits we saw and be a pretty solid defender, have some ways to play in Portland. Maybe he can get some more minutes and look like a better product. But bringing in Jaden Springer, I think, is a big upside just because of his contract as well. I saw a tweet from Dan Greenberg, Stool Greeny, big Celtics guy working for Barstool Sports, and he mentioned that Dalano Banton's contract next year, would, if the Celtics agreed to it, would be $2.1 million. But with the Celtics trading for Jaden Springer, it ultimately allows them to have a $4 million contract to use in the offseason next year if they want to use it in trades. Same thing with bringing in a guy in Xavier Tillman. The Celtics want to re-sign him and bring him on a deal for the future. If the Celtics look to move off of him in the future, they can do that as well. The Celtics are going for younger guys that they can get security in, guys that have kind of been, not forgotten, but kind of left out of these contending teams like the Sixers and the Grizzlies, getting some, underdeveloped guys, bringing them into this team. And that's how we're going to have to do this type of stuff with the new CBA. Celtics aren't going to be able to go after and get guys on the buyout market like Joe Harris, like Spencer Dinwiddie, because they make over the non-tax mid-level exception of $12.4 million. And with the Celtics being in the second apron, that is not allowed now. So the Celtics having to get some talent, they're going to have to go against and get some underappreciated young value guys, and I really like that they did that with going after a guy in Jaden Springer and going after a guy in Xavier Tillman the past couple of days ahead of this deadline. Now, the one question that still remains is, with trading Dalano Banton and trading Lamar Stevens and bringing two guys back, the Celtics still do have an open roster spot, which allows them to pursue this buyout market and possibly look at some guys that they want to obtain. Now, like I just mentioned, obviously you can't go after guys like Spencer Dinwiddie because he makes over that non-tax mid-level of 12.4. He makes $20 million. Joe Harris makes $17 million. They cannot go and acquire him as well. But there's some other guys. Robin Lopez is a guy who I'm not saying I'm a proponent of the Celtics going after and going to get, because I think neemias Queta could be that already for the Boston Celtics, better than Robin Lopez. But he's a guy who, is under that threshold for the Celtics that they could go out and acquire. Those type of guys under the $12 million that do get bought out will have the option. Kelly Olynyk got traded. I know he's under the 12.4. If he gets bought out, which I don't believe he will, he would be a perfect opportunity for the Celtics. But realistically, with this 15th roster spot, I see the Boston Celtics mainly holding on to their roster right now and bringing up neemias Queta and converting him from his two-way deal. I think that just makes the most sense. Even though they just did get Xavier Tillman and they did add some front court depth, I think having neemias Queta as your 15th guy, even though him and Jordan Walsh majority of the time will be playing down, it will be effective for this team. And especially as the Celtics go deeper and deeper into the playoffs, they need that insurance and the front court position with having neemias Queta, Luke Kornet, Xavier Tillman, Al Horford, and Kristaps Porzingis, that 5 or 6 guys, just in case Kristaps or Al Horford goes down. Having neemias Queta on that standardized deal ensures that he can play in the playoffs for you if the necessary injuries happen. Having him on the two-way deal, he obviously would not be able to do that, and that would leave a big hole for the Boston Celtics if they were to lose a key guy in Porzingis or Horford at the deadline. But I really like this guy in Jaden Springer. I think he's an underappreciated guy, and Brad Stevens did it again. We saw all these rumors, and if you guys have been checking out the Celtics Digest channel, you've been seeing a bunch of rumors of a bunch of names. Andre Drummond, John Conchar, Sadiq Bey. And Brad Stevens went out and got two guys in Xavier Tillman and Jaden Springer who no one saw coming, and that's what I love to see out of a guy in Brad Stevens and our GM. He goes after guys that, even though the media is talking about the Celtics being interested in all these guys, those aren't the guys he's targeting and actually going out for. He's being secret, he's being sneaky behind the scenes, and that's what I want to see out of our GM, because that's what gets these moves done to move the needle to win us a championship. Like I said, I don't think Jaden Springer is this X-Factor X player, but I think he can kind of grow into this nice piece that the Celtics can kind of develop, and especially being a better, contributor on this bench unit, better than a guy like Dalano Banton. I think he has a little bit more upside. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below after following these two buzzer beater last second trades. And let me know your evaluation of the Celtics roster after the trade deadline. Obviously, this roster didn't have that many addressative issues, but they did make some changes, out with Lamar Stevens, out with Dalano Banton, two guys that didn't really play at the end of our roster, and in with two guys who kind of can make some contributions and look to be better bright spots in Xavier Tillman and Jaden Springer. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think the Celtics got better? Do you think they got worse? And let me know what you guys would rank the Celtics on letter grade A through F after this trade deadline. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.